All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to our webinar on generative AI. We want to empower knowledge worker. This is the main reason for us to get involved in generative AI. Let me tell you a little bit about why and where I come from. Yeah. So my name is Stefan. I'm the CEO and founder of System in Motion. And from my profile, you need to remember basically only one thing, that I graduated in 1993 with a master's degree in artificial intelligence. So this is a topic that I've been working on for more than 30 years. It's not a topic that I started to look at only 6 months ago, like many so-called experts in AI. And we're not alone to think that. That man, Peter Drucker, who is the grandfather of modern management, he invented actually the concept of professional manager. He wrote many business books. Arguably, he was the first one to really write business books. And in 1999, he published a business book that one can foretelling what the 21st century would be. And he prophesied that the 21st century would be the age of productivity for knowledge worker. And he prophesied that companies who know how to leverage that productivity will be the winner, and that a 21st century company is giving the power to their 21st century employees, knowledge worker, to really embrace technology and really experience a jump into productivity. Now, how does it work? Everybody heard about GPT. Everybody heard about LLMs or maybe Kimi. Maybe some of you are users. It's actually very simple. It's very powerful, but also simple. In the short video that you see here, you see that from a fragment of a sentence, the students open there. Generative AI and LLM, large language model, are able to know what should be the next word in this sentence. And this is actually the only thing they do. All this complex and expensive technology does only one and only one thing. Based on a fragment of a text, they will decide what is the next word, and the next word, and the next word, and the next word. You know, as you see on this short video on the right side, there's a list of words. So this list has been ordered between the most likely next word and the least one. And the small numbers that you see on the side are from 0 to 10 are the likelihood of the next word being books or eyes or mouse or window. Yeah. This is the only thing that the LLM are doing. So for something that is very mechanical, that is statistical, that is really completely and totally automated, we can do a lot of things. Yeah. It sounds simple, and the best technology are actually very simple, but extremely powerful. So in our company, System in Motion, we use generative AI for a lot of things. You can scan the QR code on the right side, and my colleague Janja will also give you the URL to register to our newsletter. If you register to our newsletter, you'll receive a white paper on prompt engineering that has 250 ideas, 250 use cases that you can use today. The most common one that we use, because I'm the CEO of the company, I do a lot of strategy. So brainstorming, new ideas, new business model, decision evaluation metrics. This is what I do very, very often with generative AI, me and the manager. We use it a lot for sales. So being an IT service company, an AI consulting company, we do a lot of B2B sales. So we have to prepare proposal, we have to evaluate proposal. Generative AI helps us a lot to compile the information, but also to review it. Generative AI can pretend to be a customer and can give us feedback on 1 hour proposal. HR, so our HR is also using a lot of generative AI. She uses it for job description, which is kind of a very, very, very simple use case, but she uses it for much more complicated and elaborated HR processes as performance evaluation and skill metrics. We use it for workshop facilitation. We can record a workshop, create a summary of any meeting. We use it for knowledge management to create our own internal training documents, analyze videos, being able to answer question on these documents, on these videos. We use it, of course, for marketing. Everybody know that content generation is a big use case there. So all our white paper, marketing content, blog article, everything is generated there. We use it for analysis, so analyzing market trends. We don't use it to find a market trend. But once you have a document, maybe a 120-page document, very thick market trend document, if you want to ask a few questions or you want to extract really the important knowledge from that market trend, generative AI is extremely useful. We use it in finance for analysis. I usually say in finance, we do all the literature using generative AI. The serious business about numbers still requires Excel and ERPs. And finally, legal part. We don't ask GPT to write our own contracts. We have standard contracts and we have a lawyer for that. But then whenever a customer is asking us to change a clause, remove a clause, or they propose another contract, or they propose a modification, we can use generative AI to compare those clauses, and we can analyze discrepancies, different contracts, and we can analyze the risk impact of changing a clause, adding a clause, or removing a clause into a contract. Again, these are just a few examples. If you scan the QR code or you click on the link in the chat, you can download our 250 use case white paper. Now, how do you use it to your advantage? You use it by prompting, by using what we call the art of prompt. So I'm going to give you the framework for you to control the computer. Because what prompting is about, what prompt engineering, some people say, is about, it's about you controlling your computer. With generative AI now, everybody can give very specific instruction to a computer using natural language. In the past, anytime you wanted a computer to do something very specific, you needed to have a developer. So from what you want to do on the business side, you have to tell a developer, or you have to do it yourself if you're a developer. That needs to write code and compile and put on the machine. This lengthy process for many tasks now can be shrinked so that the business user can directly ask a question to a computer and get an answer. But because it's a computer, the way you ask a question or the way you give a task still needs to follow a very structured sets of instruction. Because we're giving instruction to a computer. You're not chatting with a friend. You're not having a discussion with another human being. You are giving instruction to the computer. And this is our deep belief that this is how you can achieve higher level of productivity, is by giving tasks to the computer. So how do you do that? So we've developed a framework from I would say, collective knowledge that we have there, but also from our own experience, that we call the ERCFC framework. So I will start with the R. Every time you do a prompt, you need to give it a role. So the role will be the human that GPT, Gemini, or Kimi are trying to be, that the LLM is trying to be. And there you want to hire the best person for the job. If you need somebody with 20 experience in mechanical engineering, as a mechanical engineer with 20-year experience. And then GPT will start to impersonate that human in terms of style, vocabulary, authority. Everything that is generated will look like that role, will look at that person. After, you have to give it a context. The context is extremely important. The quality of the output will greatly depend on the context. What we usually tell in training is, consider that GPT is an intern coming to help you on Monday morning, 9 a.m. It doesn't know who you are. It doesn't know the company. It doesn't know what you do. It doesn't know which day it is. It doesn't know the weather. It doesn't know anything about what you want to do. So you need to capture into that context all the information that are required to execute the task that you want to be done by generative AI faster than you could do it yourself. Format is also a time saver. So if you need an email, ask it to write an email. If you need 4 bullet points, ask for 4 bullet points. If you want 100 words, ask for 100 words. So the format will allow you to take directly the output and use it in your next step, again in generative AI, or send that email or put it in your PowerPoint. And finally, the command has to be very clear. Usually, if your command is not clear, if you don't tell exactly the model what it should do, it's going to default to what we call the how-to mode. It will tell you how to do the task, but I don't want to be told how to do the task. I want the LLM to perform the task for me. And finally, example. So example, we cover it less because it's optional. You don't always need to have an example. An example is good when it's easier to show than to explain what you want. So if, for example, typical example, you find a very nice article, or it could be your best performing article on your own blog or on your own company website, you give it as an example so that it will use the structure, the tone, and it will write a completely 100% original piece that is going to follow the structure. Yeah, it's not plagiarism, so you also can take an article from one of your competitor. It's not going to plagiarize it. It's going to inspire itself and follow similar structure. So all of this, it's what we call use case. It's performing individual task. And we put it in what we call the generative AI value stack. So the 5 levels of creating value for companies. But before we go to use cases, which is what we cover with the ERCFC framework, there's a deeper, more annoying problem to solve first, which is the knowledge management. Knowledge management is an issue in companies because of humans. Because computer like information structure in a certain way, in a very structured way, in a very organized way. That's what we call a database. You know, database is the best way you can give information to a machine, but it's not appealing to users. Users, they like storytelling. They like something that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So whenever you write a PPT, you prepare a presentation, even a document, a Word document, even technical documentation, it's meant to be read from the beginning to the end, from a human to another human. So we are working hard to bridge the gap between that way that human like information, which is driven by storytelling, and the way that the machine likes to consume that information. So this way, humans can continue to store information the way we like, and then generative AI can understand the information, extract all the knowledge from those documents, and be of service to other humans. After we've done with knowledge management and individual use cases, we move into what we call workflows. So here is an example of how we create some of our white papers. So this one is an example on healthcare. So first we take a document. So in this example, it's a document on diabetes in China. We ask that document using knowledge management, what are the key trends? Based on that, we generate an outline. For every item in the outline, we use again, knowledge management to extract information from the various documents we have or from the internet to write all the paragraphs. Because this is supposed to be done by an expert. You're not supposed to write, you will not write a good white paper on a topic that you don't understand. Generative AI will help you to accelerate, but it's not going to be a good white paper. So because you're an expert, this information that you extract is not going to be enough. You have to put your own intention and you have to put your own knowledge inside. By doing so, you're going to have typos and spelling errors. So then you go again through proofreading, which is the one on the bottom left. Next, you're going to generate a cover for your white paper. Because this is a creative process, you're not going to generate one. You're going to generate 6, 20, 30 to select the best cover. And finally, you will generate a good title because a white paper is supposed to be on the internet, it's supposed to be a clickbait, so you need the best title. To get the best title, again, this is a creative process. You're not going to ask for one, you're going to ask for 10, another 10, another 10. You put everything together. We estimate by following this process and leveraging generative AI at each step of this process, we can save 40 to 60% productivity on a white paper. Then, once you've managed your knowledge, you know how to execute a single task and workflows. The next step is going to integrate AI into traditional legacy system. Basically, put the brains in the data center, connect to the database, connect to your ERP, connect to your logistics system. We will see that later. So that, again, you can give instruction in natural language to the machine. So you can ask a question in English, get the answer from the database, and get the answer back in English. Or ask the question in Chinese, query the database, and get your answer in Chinese. And finally, once you get to these 4 steps, and once companies have built up that scaffolding of AI integration, finally, my favorite part and the best part, now company can start to create new business models. So here is an example of a business model. Filling a business canvas. It's again in healthcare, about personalized healthcare. This business model has been generated by running 6 prompts in a row in what we call prompt chaining, with choices, again, from an expert at every step of the way. And it takes approximately 10 minutes. So now with generative AI in 10 minutes, you can generate a business canvas. So in 1 hour, you can generate 6. Of course, all six are not going to be billion-dollar company, but maybe one out of 20, one out of 50, if you know what you're doing, you know your industry, that just amplifies and accelerate the way you can generate all these options and how you can create those new business models faster than your competitors. So based on all of that, based on knowledge management, individual use case, workflows, transformation, integrating new tech with old tech, and creating new business models, you would think that every company on the planet is already embracing AI. But there are a few challenges. When we talk to companies, we discover that there are a few things that slow down the adoption of AI. And this is our topic today, and what to do about it. So talking to different companies, we found that there are 5 things that usually slow down the adoption of AI in companies. The first one, there's an overwhelming number of AI tools on the market. The second one, which is very complicated, is about ROI. It's very difficult to compute ROI, and companies don't really know. They don't really know how much they should invest, and they don't really know what to expect. There's a big issue with data privacy and security concern. There's a huge shortage of talents on the market, and there's a knowledge gap. And finally, like every new technology, there is a natural resistance to change and a change management process that goes with it. Now let's go one by one to really understand what's hiding between these 5. So overwhelming number of tools. So this is a screenshot from a couple of days ago. So it's probably outdated. You just need to look at the top left one. You go to that website. They have identified 80,241 tools. Probably 19,000 by today. There are so many tools on the market. When people ask us, okay, which tool do you recommend? That's impossible. Nobody can recommend a tool. You see those screenshots. There is way too many. If you want to test all of them, of course, it's impossible. And as you may guess, those websites are not run by humans. They are run by AI. So those AIs are going through the internet, performing search, and they find a new tool, a new website, a new tool, a new website. And they are literally, these are popping up every day. The technology is extremely powerful, and it's very difficult for a non-technical person to understand what every one of these tools. Some are just a very thin layer on top of GPT, and they add very little value. And of course, they need to make money, so they charge extra for that. But you would be better off using GPT by yourself. So very difficult, that jungle of AI tools, very difficult to navigate for people who are not experts. Second one about the ROI. So difficult to assess both sides of the equation. So return divided by investment. So both sides of the equation are really difficult to evaluate, and especially for small and medium enterprise. And when we're talking about productivity gain, the calculation of the productivity gain is both difficult and uncertain. Why? You can look at a task the way I show you, a long list of use cases. You can look at a workflow. So I told you white paper, 20, 40, or 60% savings. But how many white papers do you publish? So if you have one person that does that full time, they're supposed to publish twice the number of white paper. How much is it worth for you? Or do you have that person working only half time? But most of the use cases, they get you to save 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there, 30 minutes there. So extremely difficult to see the ROI. So typically, the people are saying, I'm not sure about the ROI, and are they justifying the cost? And on the other side, companies are also afraid to underinvest. What if I buy the wrong tool? What if I buy the wrong tool and I don't invest enough and I don't even get the return because I didn't spend enough money? Second one is on data privacy and security concern. A lot of companies, and a lot of employees are using free tools, and there are a lot of concern about these free tools sucking out company data. It's a very real concern, because we published an article last week on that in our blog, because all the big AI companies, they are hungry. They are super hungry for data. And there are a lot of lawsuits from websites, from going from newspaper websites to publisher, to article. I saw another one today on a very influential UK mom blog that says, okay, OpenAI stole all my data. So this is a real concern. And companies, if they want to embrace generative AI and get the best value out of it, they have to use their most confidential data, because you have most value from the data you own and the data you only own. So all this data privacy is very big, very important. And then companies need to make sure that if they use tool A, B, C, or D, that their data are safe and they can freely open the floods and they let the data and they won't leak out of the company. They will stay within the company's control. Skill gap and talent shortage. So there is a talent shortage of AI skills because the topic is new. There's also another thing on that talent shortage. I have that discussion sometime with teams that say, with a manager who is very big on AI, they study by themselves, and they say, "Oh, I don't understand. My team is not using it. I show them how to do it, and they're not doing it." Using AI without training can lead to different results. It can, of course, it will lead to not being as proficient as somebody else and maybe not getting the full benefit of performance. But quite often, actually, people try one prompt and they don't get a very good result because they've never learned how to prompt, and then they give up. In companies, some companies have deployed their tool. They deploy their own internal GPT, corporate GPT, but they don't get as many users as they expected. So they're happy because they're saving money on the model, but on the other side, they don't get the benefit. So it's very important to train people. It doesn't take. There are some courses online that last 1 or 2 weeks. You don't need to go through those trainings. That it's not necessary, but at least basic principles using the framework that I showed you at the beginning, basic 3-hour, 6-hour training is extremely important for employees to get in. And then once you have a few employees that really embrace generative AI, then it's really important that these people become the ambassador. These people become the champion, and they can teach their other colleagues in something that is more acute to the business. So growing that knowledge inside is extremely important. And another key message: AI is not for IT. There are things that needs to be done by IT department. There are some coding to be done. But again, as I explained at the very beginning, generative AI makes it possible for everybody in the company to really leverage the technology and do it by themselves and being in full control of the output. So don't miss out on this opportunity. Make sure you train your people. And finally, cultural resistance and change management. So employee resist AI because there's a lot of fear about job displacement. But that's kind of counterintuitive, but embracing AI is kind of the best way to save your job today. Some organizations have gone through many changes. A lot of organizations consider that they have not finished their digital transformation. And then now you need to go through your AI transformation. So organizations need to be very careful about this one and really get the team to understand what is the strategy and why it's important and why we want to do it before our competitors are doing it. Leadership buying is extremely important. More and more we realize that the first person we need to train are the executive teams in company. And the bigger the company, the most important it is. If they don't understand what it is, they are not going to be able to guide their team. They're not going to be able to support them. And they're not going to know, are they using it wrong? Did they deploy the wrong technology? Is there a problem with the system? And communication gap, again, it must be very, very clear that AI is here to stay. That there's no way any company will do and compete without AI. And again, if the executive really embrace it and they really understand and they embrace the value stack that we put forward, they should be able to communicate clearly that the company is going to put new business model. It's actually going to conquer new territories, like virgin territories where that generative AI make open for companies in their own industry, things that they couldn't do 2 years ago. So what are companies trying to do? Facing those challenges, a lot of companies are trying to build the technology first. That's actually a good idea. That is fine. And it's good to have an internal technology. It's good to bring AI inside the company. But again, that only works if you train the people inside the company.
Some company, they try a lot of free tools. Now that one is not so good because again, you're at risk of having your data floating around and being stolen and being used to train the next version of AI. But it's also impossible to test the 18,500 or 19,000 tools that are out there. So it's a lost battle against the quantity of tools that are there. Some company, they just run workshops. I think the big consulting company were super big in 2023 about running those workshops to find use cases. Use cases are actually easy to find. It's how you translate them into a prompt and how you translate them into a system and where you see the value of generative AI. And one of the examples of using generative AI is brainstorming. So actually, you can use generative AI to really accelerate those workshops and really get more and more ideas. Once you have a small list of 10 or 20, generative AI can help you generate more. Some company, they just don't want to embrace AI. So one industry that comes to mind is the translation industry. We discussed with a translation company a few months back, and they told us that's it. All our customers are asking us to reduce the cost by 30% because AI is here. So we really need to implement it. Otherwise, we're not competitive on the market anymore. So this is one way. So for the industry that has to embrace AI, it's kind of pressure that is coming from their customer. But for the customer, I think it's a missed opportunity because they should be able to embrace AI themselves, and they should be able to figure out if this is the right way for them to do. Instead, they are forcing the supplier to get that skill that they don't have. And finally, looking for AI expert to define strategy. This one is a pretty good idea. Again, with all the tools that are there and all the possibilities that they offer, it's really good to seek for expertise and to get guidance from AI experts. So why did we create the AI Accelerator? So we created the Accelerator because we've trained 2,415 people as of today. And then after we train them, they're using AI, but they're using AI from outside. So I'm working, and then I go to GPT, I do something, and I come back. But then those companies, the people we train, they realize that they really need to bring the AI inside the company. So after being trained and being quite efficient on using AI with themselves, the question was, what can we do next? And what is the next level? So the next level is to hire your first AI, bring AI inside the company. We create the Accelerator because we want to structure the methodology, and we want to bring that expert guidance that is critical for companies to really succeed. This technology, so again, we choose big models, we choose LLMs, and we choose large language models as a core issue because it ties back to what Peter Drucker was saying. It's about managing the knowledge, and most of the knowledge is text. And most of the tasks are about creating text. There are a few about image and video and sound, but there's really a lot going on for knowledge worker about text. So those large language models, they're great because they're very versatile and they're ready to use. You flip on your GPT 4.0, you ask a question, you get an answer. The technology is there, and we really want to accelerate that adoption. That's why we call it the AI Accelerator. Because the technology is changing so fast, so we published an article this morning showing in the last 6 months, there was I think we had 5. Oh, this is the best model so far. And then it was GPT-4, and then it was Claude and 3.5 Sonnet, and then it was GPT-4 Mini, and when it was SenseTime, and now it's the new Llama. So every week, every 2 weeks now, there's oh, this is a game changer. This is a game changer. This is a game changer. So if companies start 6-month project to implement their AI, by the time they're done, they are 5 generations late. So this rapid changing technology makes it completely impractical to run a 6-month project. This is why we decided that the AI Accelerator would be a 1-month project, and that we need to deliver results in 1 month. And finally, we decided to make the AI Accelerator a cohort. So not running an accelerator for one company, but running an accelerator for 3 to 5 companies. It allows us to reduce the cost, so it makes it more affordable for SMEs. But also, we think there is a shared learning opportunity there for companies to go through the accelerator together and see what the others are doing. Yeah. So what is the accelerator? So it's a 1-month project that goes on like this. First, we assess every company for what we call AI readiness. Yeah. So AI readiness is the level of digitalization of the company. What is available? What are the information that are structured and available? Then we deploy the tech. So the companies that join the accelerator, they don't have their own corporate AI because maybe they thought only big companies could afford that, but it's actually feasible, and we've done it, with a few companies already. Then we go for training, so e-education. And then once the people are trained, once we've trained 1 or 2 champions inside a company, they will be able to train their own colleagues, and they train them in their own words with a deep understanding of the company's business. And then we do something strange. Then it's strategy. So we do the strategy, the objective, and the KPI only at that stage, only at stage 3 of the AI Accelerator. Usually in a project, you do the strategy and the objective at the beginning. But the reason it's here is because it's extremely difficult to come out with use cases, KPI, strategy, and a roadmap before you've gone through training. And you cannot really go through training before you've deployed the tech and you plug in the company's knowledge into the generative AI. So this is why we structure the accelerator this way. And by the time that is finished, within 1 month, there is one key workflow that has been fully automated. The company has their own AI running inside their own organization, secured, so everything is done securely. It's either deployed on a private cloud where the company already has their data, or it's deployed on premise where the company has secured all their data. You know. So this is what, and then we call this the AWESOM methodology, AWESOM, because by the end you have something awesome. So now I would like to welcome Bruno Alix, who went through the AI Accelerator. So now the second part of the presentation will be him. I will interview him about his experience in going through the AI Accelerator, and then he's going to demo his tech. So he's going to demo the one application of AI that he's building into his platform. And finally, we'll go through a Q&A session so that you can ask questions to Bruno or to myself. Yeah. So Bruno, if you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello everybody. Thanks for joining the webinar. And thanks, Stefan, for the organization of this webinar. So my name is Bruno Alix. I'm a CEO and founder of Hubble. I'm based in Shanghai, so I work in China since more than 10 years already. And I have a good experience about logistics systems because I work in supply chain systems since more than 15 years. And Hubble is my platform, which is a supply chain visibility platform, which is used by my customer, which could be either brands, either logistic providers. So basically, for brands, we help them to automate their distribution. So we connect them actually with the main e-commerce channels, such as marketplaces or CMS, if you know, like Shopify, PrestaShops, and so on. So we help them synchronize their orders and stocks with their logistics. And we do automatic fulfillment. We help them to become omnichannel because we help them to share stocks across several channels. And we help them also to manage all the complexity of e-commerce through our engines of cancellation management, return management, exchanges, etc. Can go next. Also, we provide for our customer like end-to-end visibility. So provide visibility of what's happening in the logistics operations from the factory and the sourcing. Generally, our customer actually they source in Asia. With container tracking as well. So like this, our customers can have visibility about where are the goods and at which times they will arrive in Europe, especially with the disturbance of the logistics chain we had in the past and even nowadays. Also, we help our customers to have visibility about the stocks they have whatever in Asia or whatever in Europe. And we help them actually to distribute all these goods to different channels, whatever it's e-commerce, whatever it's B2B stores, distributors. So they have a full visibility in one single platform about all of this logistics data. And they can collaborate with their different partners, whatever it's warehouse providers, transportation providers, and all these actors can collaborate with the brand through my platform. I also offer what we call like a white label customer portal for logistic providers. So this is another way around to use my platform. Logistic providers, they need a platform for interacting with their customer. So they can do it through my platform, and their customer, whatever they are big or small, they can use the platform either simply with through the web platform where we can input and see data, but also they can use Excel to import and export data. They can use our connectors that they can just configure to use it in a plug and play mode to connect their Amazon store, their Shopify store, their Cdiscount store. For more advanced users, they can use our Open API to connect with the logistics APIs with the main ERP of the market. So this is how is this gives you a context about what is the platform we offer at Hubble, and then we will show you how we augmented my platform Hubble with AI.
Thank you, Bruno, for this introduction. So this is a picture of the first batch of the AI Accelerator. So that's you on the left. I think it was the last meeting, right? The last meeting of the AI Accelerator. So I'm going to ask you a few questions for you to share your experience as you went through this accelerator. So first question, why did you decide to join the AI Accelerator?
Actually, for me, I found that there is right now in the software industry, it's a very hot topic to augment application with AI capability. There is a lot of news in the last 6 months or even the last year about big companies that are augmented their software with AI. I can say, for example, Shopify, they publish a tool called Magic, where they will help their customer to automatically provide the product description, change the product background to have a nicer background for their product picture. So everybody, all the software industry is on it, and I think it looks to be like really a key game changer right now in my industry. And also specifically in my field about logistics, somewhere there is still a lot of manual input, a lot of ad hoc queries. And for me, because of this, I believe that really my application especially should be and must be a very good playground for AI.
But you have you have technical background, you have technical resources. Why you didn't do the AI implementation by yourself?
For me, on my side, my resources are all programmers. So for them, they just know what's the logic of a normal code, where you give them a logic, and the code will always provide the same result. And when we brainstorm with my team about what we can do in this field, somewhere we didn't know how to do. And for me, at the beginning, I was almost convinced that AI was only for big companies. And maybe if I wanted to embed an AI in my own application, I will need to train or develop the model by myself.
Okay. Interesting. So what was your surprise then, you going through the accelerator? You discovered it was easy and cheap finally?
For me, what I was surprised that indeed that first of all there is no big barrier because somewhere there is so many LLM on the market. I think we know all of them, like GPT in particular. And for me, I did not know that actually it was possible to just have like a kind of middleware between my application and the LLM to interact with the standard LLM of the market. And what I was surprised that when we deploy a STEM in motion application, I was surprised that it was almost plug and play, because already without any customization, already some few prompts were working directly. So actually, I found that it was it's easy to get 80% of the result with 20% of the efforts.
Okay, I'll quote you on this one. That's a good slogan. Yeah. So can you explain the audience what is the use case that you've chosen, and what is the first thing you want to offer to your customer, and then we can go through the demo.
Yes, sure. So actually, there is many use cases I still want to deploy because during the process of the AI Accelerator, I got a lot of ideas through the training, through the exchange with the team. But the first one we decided to implement is one of the most standard, but still one of the most powerful, is what we call chat with data. So for me, I have a database which is pretty complex and with many data. And this will bring two drawbacks. Somewhere my UI currently is limited, so you can query the UI. You have some filters, you have some views, but sometimes the user, the need of the user to get data is different from what my UI can offer them. So they cannot get the data through my UI as they want. In logistics, there is a lot of needs about reporting. There is reporting. Some are recurrent, so it's worth it to develop. Some is just ad hoc. So the tool we decide to develop is what we call chat with data. So through a prompt, we can call the LLM of the market. So for us, we decided to use GPT-4, and this and GPT-4 will, according to the user's natural language prompt, it will transform it in a SQL query and get the data from database directly. And like this, the user can get any data, can access any data of his logistic operations.
So we're going back to the thing that I explained at the beginning. Actually, now a business user can use English to give order to the machine and get it back. In the past, you needed a developer to do all that stuff, but now they have a business question, they can ask it directly to your tool, And you were able to implement that. And you were able to deploy that, to implement that within 1 month and a few weeks to adjust it, right?
Exactly. So for us, we did the first POC in 1 month. So right now we already embedded the bot in our application. We are building some new features around the current feature that we develop that I will show you later.
Okay. Let's go right to it. So I'm going to give you I will stop my sharing, and then Bruno, please share the screen and show us what you've achieved and the new features that you were able to do. So and again, for people to understand, and you had no AI capabilities, and in 1 month, you had that proof of concept, and now we are 3 weeks after the end of the accelerator, and you have something in production that you're going to show everybody, right?
Here's my logistic application. So this is the bot that we developed together with System in Motion. So I will show you how it works with a few prompts. So most of my users actually are logistics manager or supply chain specialist in a company. And for example, there is some data that you cannot get from a normal UI. For example, it could happen that today, in my view, you can list all the orders. You can query by order number. You can query by marketplace, for example, but you cannot query by SKU. If you want to get all the orders for a given product, I will need to develop a custom report or to make a query and send to you by email. So it will require some engineers from my company or some key users of my customers. But with this new tool, you can imagine that you can query directly by yourself this kind of data. So for example, I would run a prompt where I ask the bot in which order has been shipped this SKU. And in the background, so what will do the tool is that it will do some Go and some back and forth with the GPT-4 in order to let him to generate a SQL query, and then it will reply to the user with a natural language about which order where And basically, we will, in order to do that, we need to provide some context to the
So Bruno, I think you will have to repeat the last few sentences because you get cut off.
sorry. You can still see my screen, right?
Yeah, we still can see you, but there were a few sentences that got lost. So you said from the natural language you go to the database, and then we get the answer back, right? I think your network is a bit unstable.
Yeah, exactly. I changed. Okay, I think it should be better now. So yes, it will then after running the SQL query to my database, then the bot will reply with in natural language to the user. So this is how it works in the background. And basically, at first, we need to provide some context to GPT. So basically, we provide to him to it all the database structure, all our database structure with comments, with context, where we explain actually what's the meaning of this table, what's the meaning of this field. And this will help actually to provide a better data quality, better quality of the response. So you might think it takes a bit of time. Let's say generally for us, it takes 30 seconds to 1 minute to generate the result. But you should what I say to my users that you can imagine that if you ask the same thing to a human, like a data engineer or a key user to generate the same data for you, maybe it will take more like 3 or 4 days. Because of his availability. And maybe he will need for him, he must take at least also 1 or 2 hours of work in order to do that.
And also the user are able to ask any question they want, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So they are not limited by the UI. And they can, for example, if I ask to GPT what is the total ship quantity for each month in the last 6 months, which is aggregated data currently in the UI, except if you are able to build report in SQL, but then you can do it. But if you're a normal user, then you cannot query that by yourself.
And if the customer decide to export the data and run their own pivot table, it's also going to take them more than 30 seconds, or will it be faster?
No, I believe it will be. It will take more. It will take more time.
And there's a chance that they will make mistakes, right?
Also, yeah.
So have you've already put it in production, or it's still in testing phase right now?
Right now, it's in testing phase. So now we are in progress of giving more and more context to the bot, so we can understand better our applications database. And also, I will ask a few of my users, a few of key users to make tests and provide to me which questions they ask, but where they think that the response quality was not enough good. So like this, we can retry by putting more context to the bot.
And you have like beta testers or?
Yeah, exactly. In my customer, I have some historical customers that are interested by the feature, and are really willing actually to get this feature working good. So they agree actually to invest time in order to help me to build accuracy. So, for example, this is the kind of questions that the bot can reply, but my UI cannot answer directly without efforts. Is that what are the total ship quantity for each month over the last 6 months? Then the AI was able to give me 1 minute by the total ship quantity in pieces for each of the months. Like I know in June, for example, totally I shipped 143 pieces for this customer.
Okay, and this is real-time data, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or sometimes it can fail. It can happen that because there is a bit of creativity in the model in GPT, so it could happen that the bot cannot reply accurately. But basically for us, I think from my test, we are close to 80% of accuracy right now.
Okay, and then one last question, and then we can open up a question for the audience. So if you had not joined the accelerator, how long do you think it would have taken you to reach the same results?
For me, I think I will maybe even never started, because actually I didn't know what could be the methodology to interact with the LLM. As I told you, for me, I believe that maybe I should wait, I don't know, for a new model which could be lighter, that could be customized. But actually, today we have so many LLM in the market. The product is accessible by API, so you just need like a kind of middleware and some team with a good knowledge to build such a bot.
That's what you got from the accelerator, right? You got the knowledge, you got the realization you could do it, and now you have your demo that is running and giving you what would be useful to your users, right?
Exactly. And for me also, it's a good marketing advantage to have this bot, because this bot will help me actually to upsell my solution. Because it can show that it's really a modern tool that embed AI, and I will keep on track with the competition.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move to the Q&A section. So I saw there were already a few questions in the chat. So there was a question on are we going to share the PPT? So yes, you will all receive the PPT in 8 minutes. It's going to be distributed into your mailboxes. And you will also receive in the same email, you'll receive links to further events, so you can access our website. You'll have a link to see what are the events on our website. If you want to join the next webinar or when we have our training. There was another question. Okay, we have the PPT after the meeting. Where was it? So there was one question about integrating GenAI with your own data warehouse. So do you need to change the hardware? So you have two solutions to deploy LLM. You can use some of the I would say platform as a service or LLM as a service. So you can have an LLM that is already there, already installed. So if you take GPT or OpenAI on Azure or Kimi, Wensheng Yuan from Baidu, where was the other one? ChatGLM. They exist as SaaS solutions. So which means that those companies have deployed a large infrastructure of GPU, and you can just, talking about technical terms, you just call an API. So in that case, in the example that Bruno showed, is calling a GPT. That GPT will send back the answer. And then for your data warehouse, because I guess your question is on the data warehouse, the load on the data warehouse is going to be the same. No matter if you use an ETL to extract the data, or I don't know, a click view or a Tableau to query your data warehouse. The fact that you use generative AI is not going to put more load on your data warehouse, but you have a new piece of technology that needs to run, which is this LLM. Yeah. So if you don't want to use it as a SaaS solution because you don't want your data to go through there, then you have to deploy it in your own infrastructure. So your infrastructure can mean two things. It can mean private cloud. In that case, you create your own private instance of GPT, or on premise. So out of the AI Accelerator, so Bruno chose the cloud private cloud deployment, but another participant in the AI Accelerator decided to have their own deployment. In that case, you need to buy a pretty expensive piece of hardware. I think it was a 40 or 50,000 RMB server that needs to run an LLM that needs to be powerful enough to run that. So on the data warehouse itself, there's no need to change for chat with database, but then you have to run the LLM. So that LLM you can rent it, and then you're going to pay by API call on Azure or Baidu, or you deploy it locally, and then you have an expensive cost. Then somebody's asking about use case in the HR industry. So HR industry, we have a lot of use cases. So the first use case, so the first set of use cases, they are the one that we're running internally. So our HR, I think our HR is one of the power user. All the internal communication, performance review, skill set, etc., all of that, she's using it. Now, if your question, Jenny, is about ROI, now is there an ROI? Not really. At least there's an ROI, but I won't be able to compute it, and I won't be able to get some money out of it or some savings, because I had one HR, I still have that HR. She's producing more, she's more efficient, the quality of the output is better, but I didn't make any savings. So it makes sense for us because we've already invested into the platform, and then we train all our employees, and we just have, I would say, better output, better quality. But I don't have an ROI. So those use cases, we have a long list of use cases where we are more. I think we have better HR, more performant HR, but we cannot claim an ROI out of it because I don't have half an HR. I still have a full-time HR, and I still have that. Yeah. So very difficult to qualify. Next question. The current demo, the data query to the DB is live. Yes, I think Bruno answered that question. Can you answer the user access that I asked through the chatbot? Okay. Bruno, did you implement a security layer? I think you had, right? Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, exactly. So we deploy a security layer. So today, the security layer we did for the POC is just through pure AI, because we provide which user and which user permissions that the user have. And in the future, we plan to still do it, the security layer, through a programmatic way, meaning that we won't let the LLM to directly query our database, but we'll let him to query our API. So like this, the LLM will only have access to the data that he should, like a normal user. So this will be our next step, actually. Yeah. So it's possible to ensure the same level of security than normal users.
Yeah. One way to do it is passing on the context, actually, the token from the user down. So because you did it with if you do it with SSO, that's also another way that you can simplify the architecture. Right. I think we've answered all the questions. If we miss your question, please notify us on the chat. Oh, actually, sorry, Jenny. I'm going back to Jenny's question. Actually, I kind of missed something important. One of the participants in the AI Accelerator is using AI to search through a database of 70,000 resumes. That's another use case. And we interview him, I think 1 week after the accelerator. And he told us that the solution was not perfect yet. He was still working on using generative AI to really pick up that needle in a haystack of like, this is the resume I need for that particular job description. So his expectations were fairly high. But what he told us is that the solution was already better than his current solution that was more keyword based, and they were already able to pick up resume faster. But again, is there an ROI? Can he compute his ROI? I'm not sure. Can he create a new business model out of that? Probably, and this is a direction that we are telling him that would be really impressive. So it's not necessarily about speed of search, but about quality of search. When you use generative AI is doing what we call semantic search. So they're not looking for keywords, because keywords, maybe the candidate didn't put that keyword into their resume and they won't be able to find it. But if you tell LLM project management, they will find planning, they will find schedule, they will find words that are different, but that are semantically correct. So it's more quality than speed. Bruno, thank you very much for your testimony. Thank you for all the participants who stayed until the end. Please look into our website and we'll keep having different webinars on different topics. We're still thinking about the next one, what it should be, but it's going to be different than today. And if you miss part of it, we're going to put the replay, and there will be a location on our website so you can get access to the replay. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, and let's keep using generative AI and empower knowledge worker. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.